This video is sponsored by Deep Cut Studios. For a wide range of fantastic gaming resources such as battle mats, dice trays and pre-painted bases, check out the description below.
My friend, do you see those large, muscle-bound, intimidating-looking folks over there? Do you see how they act all wary around that small, creepy-looking woman with the wavy hair? They act that way because they know that little lady could quite literally eat them alive if she wanted to, and there isn't much they could do about it, because that woman is Asami, a member of the 10 Thunders with a sad tale that birthed a terrifying power. Now, Asami was once a shrine maiden on good old Earth, and it was her and her family's duty to protect a shrine that had been guarded for generations. A rather lonely existence for the young woman, and one she had hoped to alleviate by one day giving birth to a child, believing that having a young life to raise and nurture would give her a sense of purpose and peace that she so desperately needed. A peace that was denied when her shrine was attacked. An attack that not only killed her family, but also mortally wounded her. A wound that would not only quickly take her life, but also, she later learned, remove her ability to have children. That would have been the end of Asami's story, if not for the intervention of an otherworldly being. You see, my friend, Asami's family didn't protect a simple shrine. They were guardians of something called the Obsidian Gate, a door between Earth and the beyond, the realm of demons known as Oni. And behind that gate, waiting for his chance to enter our world, was Amanjaku, an Oni whose carefully laid out plans were nearly ruined that night. You see, unlike most of his kin, Amanjaku was a patient sort, aiming to slowly corrupt poor Asami, instead of just trying to quickly take her over like any of his more bestial kin might have. He had been whispering through the gate into her mind for years, with the ultimate goal of fully possessing her. However, the sudden attack on the shrine put those plans to flame. In desperation, he spoke into Asami's mind and offered her a deal, her life, and more importantly, revenge, if she allowed them to become one. And Asami, racked with pain and grief, agreed. With her transformation, Asami was rather limited in her options for allies, and allowed herself to be recruited by the 10 Thunders, who hoped to use her demonic abilities for themselves. And it helped that unlike most humans, Asami seems to have a special affinity for the Oni that the 10 Thunders like to keep in their employ, such as the Jorogumo, spider-like Oni whose tendency to eat the wounded on both sides during a conflict can make anyone's skin crawl, or Obsidian Oni, whose shimmering black skin can resist most blows, and who wield clubs that they can imbue with flame. Katashiros were human-shaped paper dolls used in purification rituals. A person's sins and vices were placed within it and thrown into a river. Usually not a problem, unless a bunch of those dolls were to clump up around a branch or something. If enough of those paper dolls gather in one place, that clump of paper comes alive, becoming a wellspring of negativity, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, as the creature loves to consume the sins and vices of those around it. Now Asami isn't a fool. She was a shrine maiden after all, and knows how dangerous a creature like Amanjaku can be. It's the main reason she still sticks with the 10 Thunders, hoping her free access to their resources give her a way to free herself from the Oni's terrible influence. That said though, Amanjaku knows quite well what to promise Asami to keep her in his thrall, telling her that one day he might be able to give her back her ability to give birth to a child. I mean, look what he did to her body already. He just needs a little more time and power. One day, my friend, Asami may need to make a choice, fully sacrifice her dream of having a child in order to stop a great evil, or let one of the most powerful Oni in the Beyond regain its full power and cause havoc in Malifaux in order to hear the cries of her future newborn babe. A hard choice, but an unsurprising one, because in Malifaux, nothing ever comes easy.
Hi guys, and welcome back to our Malifaux Masters Breakdown, where we showcase the factions and personalities vying for soul stones and dominance within the Broken City. Today's episode features the Oriental Oni demons of Malifaux and their master, Asami Tanaka. The Oni's main mechanic, From Beyond, revolves around the use of Flicker tokens, a non-conditioned token that gets added to friendly Oni models in order to gain a positive to a duel and any damage flips that they generate. These tokens have to be carefully managed, however, as if a friendly model ever has 3 or more flicker tokens at the end of an activation, they're killed. Fortunately, the Oni has an ability called Devour Souls, which allows them to discard a flicker token from themselves after killing an enemy model. The second main mechanic of the Oni keyword comes from Asami herself being a summoner. This gives her extra models to push up the board and use as roadblocks for the opponents to keep them busy while the rest of the crew try to score points. Finally, the Oni is incredibly mobile due to a large number of movement shenanigans. This means that they can quickly cover a large amount of the board to scheme and interact where needed. The Master of the Oriental Demons themselves is Asami, a versatile master who can flex between summoning new models, moving, and supporting her crew, and even in a pinch trying to devour the enemy with a mouth in the back of her head. Asami can be surprisingly hard to kill with defense 6, protected Oni, and a quick action to remove any scheme, scrap or corpse markers within a 2-inch pulse of her to heal 2 for each marker removed. However, this healing is going to be much needed thanks to the Oni's soul ability, which allows her to suffer 2 irreducible damage after a friendly Oni within 10 inches ends its activation in order to remove a flicker token from them and potentially stop them from dying early. Asami's summoning ability is a once per turn action whereby she can name any number of Oni minions, and the target number is their cost added together plus 10. Like other summons, they come into play with an upgrade, however unlike other summoning upgrades, this doesn't actually have any negative condition. Instead, it states that the summon model comes into play with 2 flicker tokens and gains another one every time it activates. However, the summon model is able to remove any corpse or scrap within 1 inch of itself when it is summoned in order to remove that number of flicker tokens and attempt to last a few more turns. Asami herself is able to actively help manage the flicker tokens with a mother's love, while her ranged attack can push a model up to 6 inches in any direction, with triggers for either the master or a friendly model to throw out a melee attack straight after. Following Asami into the fray is the power behind the throne, Amanjaku, and I'm apologising for all the pronunciations in this video. As a small insignificant totem, his main ability is to follow other Oni around and use tactical action to remove a flicker from them. However, if Asami does ever get killed during the game, he gains her soul upgrade and turns him into a tanky killing machine, able to use flicker to reduce damage dealt to him and his main attack becoming 3-4-6 with a built-in trigger to do it again. Next up is the first of the Oni henchmen, Amanozaku. With flight and move 6, they excel at getting up the board with a damage track of 3-4-5 and some excellent triggers, which is great at punching whoever you want dead. Their Dark Bargain quick action is excellent at giving a friendly model an interact action, but if you happen to have a 5 of masks or want to use a stone, you can get any model to take any action, which can often result in Amma being a 3 AP model with good management of their flicker tokens and wounds. However, if your opponent has declared a master that relies on resistant triggers, then you may want to take the second Oni henchman, Ohaguru Batari, or Black Betty as she's informally known. Her Unnerving Presence ability is a 6-inch aura that states enemy models are unable to declare resistance triggers. This, combined with her ability to place into base contact with a model that is summoned within 6 inches thanks to her Drawn to Essence, makes her ability to deny the defensive abilities of enemies in a large area really effective. Batari has a large number of great triggers on her melee attack, with either Puncture to allow the Spike 5 severe damage, Shove Aside for more attacks, or even From the Heavens so the damage from the attack cannot be reduced with Soul Stones. This, coupled with the excellent Lore and Whispered Truth actions, make her a versatile hiring option. Over to the Enforcer of the crew, the Kamatachi, more like the Wonder Weasel, yeah? This is a cheap, insignificant model who will cycle your hand when summons occur, as well as being able to throw out severe hazardous terrain within 6 inches. Moving over to minions, and we start with the 9 Soulstone Spider Centaur, the Jorogumo, a heavy beater that will effectively use its flicker tokens to reliably get its severe 6 damage multiple times per turn. With Herald allowing it to move 6 inches at the start of the game, it's often an aggressive and frightening model that will have to be dealt with by your opponent, or they'll lose models regularly. It can also be a really useful counter to enemies that rely on healing a lot, as its quick action, Mark of Vengeance, states that the target model within 10 inches cannot heal, shutting down useful abilities such as regeneration. Next up is the often summoned Obsidian Oni, a ruthless condition beater with armor 1 and a demise that makes them explode, doing 2 damage and 2 burning to all within a 2-inch pulse. This combination encourages you to recklessly spend flicker on their attacks to increase the reliability of the damage they deal, before then exploding at the end of your activation in your opponent's face, which is especially impactful against a crew that likes to bubble up. Alternatively, they can set up burning hazardous aura around them and punish their opponents for taking any actions near them. Leading into the more schemy side of the Oni, we have the Murder Monkeys, the Yokai, the Birdmen, the Tengu, and the Origami Men, the Katashiro. all of which are highly mobile and able to scheme and score you points. If you're struggling for points, then the cheaper Tengu might be the more available option, however they are a lot squishier at defense 4 and 5 wounds. If you aren't struggling for stones and you want a model that can try and take out enemy scheme runners, then the yokai might be more appropriate, especially as their corrupting essence bonus action allows them to interact while engaged to score points while they dish out pain with their exotic weapons. Finally, the Katashiro are the middle ground. With leap and made to kill, they can often make 3 attacks a turn, augmented by the blade rush ability for additional damage. However, as their name would suggest, they are literally made out of paper and will die rather easily under sustained pressure. Finally, we have the Akaname, a trash gremlin that is a Bayou model that shares its keyword with the Drunken Monk's Tri-Chi. With a quick action that drops a scheme, scrap or corpse marker, they are great at supporting Asami by dropping markers for her to use for healing. They are also excellent tar pit summons for 4 points because they have a 2-inch melee barbed tongue attack that targets movement and gives slow and poison thanks to the inbuilt infect trigger. The Oni keyword is incredibly fast and quite hard hitting. With the ability to get positives to attack and damage, they're able to get around defensive abilities such as manipulative and serene countenance. Their damage can be fairly reliable considering they're often on a cheatable straight damage flip for their attacks. Being able to summon more disposable models makes the crew able to ask their opponent the difficult question of, are you going to deal with this model now and let my schemers score points, or are you going to ignore it and let it start killing your models? Amanozaku along with Amanjuku supporting can dominate a flank while also scheming, while Akaname and Obsidian Oni hold the centre and punish your opponent for being there or challenging claim jump contenders. These factors make the Oni an excellent reactive pick into many scheme pools and masters, forcing the pressure on the opponent with a wide toolbox of summon problem solvers. If you're coming against Asami and her Oriental demons, then fear not, as there are actions that you can perhaps take to limit their effectiveness. The first and probably most obvious is anti-summoning abilities or placement and manipulation. On top of this, models that are also highly mobile and able to hunt down their schemers will deny the Asami player the ability to score points when they're only left with summons. If you are able to deny demise abilities or bury an Obsidian Oni before killing it, then you'll severely hamper its damage potential gained from its demise. While leaping and ranged actions are also a great way of forcing Asami's minions to waste their actions on movement rather than exploiting flicker attacks. Finally, if you're looking to become a master of the Oni, then why not try out this example list, which features all of the main name characters and a mixed variety of schemers to get to grips with to see what your preference is. With a fair few stones, it gives you plenty of options to summon roadblocks for your opponent's plan. Use your core of Asami, Ahagoro Batari and Jorogumo and an Akanami to aggressively assault the centre, while Amanozako and Amanjuku go up one flank, a Yokai and Katashiro go up the other to secure or deny victory points where needed. So that brings us to the end of this Malifaux Master breakdown. We hope it's been useful and giving you a snapshot of the crew and its mechanics. A massive thank you to the vocal talents of the wonderful Arvandus during the video's intro. You can find more of his excellent lore content in the links in the description below. For more talk about Malifaux and its masters, why not check out our podcast The Harlefaux Show, where we break down each keyword and why you should play it. Alternatively, we have a wealth of beginner-friendly battle reports here on the channel that guide players through every flip and decision. Whichever you choose, we look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care, folks. Hi guys, and thank you so much for watching our videos. It means the world to us. If you want to see some more, they should be over here. If you want to support this channel, keep these lights on. You can find links to our Patreon and merchandise in the description below. Take care.